everybody. Welcome back to the Health Shoppe Niagara, located here at White Oaks at 253 Taylor Road in beautiful Niagara-on-the-Lake. This is our third podcast of many, and my God, Steph, the feedback I've been getting is crazy.
That's amazing.
Really? It is. Let's go back to you. How was your week? Did you get the chance to live, love, and laugh?
My week, well, you know what, to be honest, I have just been working nonstop. I worked blazed through right the weekend. I didn't even take a break, and but you know what I mean, I still live what I preach. I'm in one of those seasons where I'm launching a lot of stuff. Work is intentional, taking a lot of time in my life, but I always do 5 things every day that will help me move my life forward in terms of that bigger vision and the why and what I'm doing. And I was kind of stuck today at 4, and I was like, 5, what's the 5th one? And I'm like, be more human, be more present, close down the apps, close down the computer, put the books away, and just be present and watch my kids play karate. You know what I mean? So it's like, so yeah, it's been busy. What about you? What's going on?
We went to so we had a great week, a busy week at work. Did some mental health training, which was always pretty in-depth stuff, and a lot of great things that I learned from the course. But then on the weekend we went down to Allegheny, so we just I refocused and
Nice.
Refocused on your why, and it was good.
Good.
My apologies, I forgot to introduce Steph Jackson, my team. I apologize, Steph. I'm just so caught up in the moment.
I know. Yeah, my name is Stephanie Jackson. I'm an integrative health practitioner here in the Niagara region, and I don't treat, cure, or diagnose disease. I work on a functional medicine perspective, which is all about rebalancing the body, where it is deficient in vitamins and minerals, and then what are the toxicities and removing those toxins. So a lot of the content today, I'm going to be exploring, what I do as an integrative health and really what that is. So thank you.
So let's retrack back to our last episode. We talked about immunity and how we can build our immunity. And one of the key things we were talking about was the vitamin C, zinc, and magnesium. A lot of positive feedback from people out there as far as the West Coast down into the Philippines that were sending me questions, wanting to know more about building immunity and how these how the 3 of them play a key factor in building your immunity. Today we're just going to talk about the 2 of them, vitamin C and zinc, and how they work, to help build back your immunity, and plus all the other things that they do in your body that a lot of people don't really realize what they do. So we'll start off with vitamin C.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, first thing, we're on a podcast and we're giving all this information and benefits about vitamin C. So people get all, I'm going to go on my way home from work and stop and grab some vitamin C. So it's another one of those things that's in your cabinet, and you start getting, it's all novelty and yay for the first
But you only take
5
when you're sick. I'm getting sick, I gotta take the vitamin C.
Or 5 days, and then you kind of forget about it because there's not that connection to the why am I doing this. It's not built into the bigger purpose and creating habits that we just do every day. And it maybe in the beginning it's a kind of a robotic way of going about it, but then over time you just go into autopilot and you just do things. Like I wake up every single morning, I come down in the kitchen. I used to turn to the coffee. Now I get my 1 liter water, I fill it with filtered water, get some potassium in there with some lime, some sea salt. I take my vitamin C and my probiotic on an empty stomach. It's just, I'm on autopilot. This is what I do, but I understand my why am I doing this. So let's go over some of the benefits of vitamin C, right?
Okay.
To get some of these habits crystallized into our body. So number 1, vitamin C, I would say it's probably the most important vitamin. It's the most important vitamin. It influences over 300 different metabolic processes in the body, not to mention our immune system.
So it does more than just building your immune, it works.
Absolutely, it does so much. It helps with, in integrative medicine, what that means is we studied nutrition science, we studied orthomolecular medicine, which is the science of using actually vitamins and minerals as medicine. So oftentimes we use higher dosage of vitamins and minerals to heal someone. So taking all these different sciences, and orthomolecular medicine uses very much vitamin C in different, even cancer. Like do the research. Look at all the different studies where it's been used in preventative measures with cancer, long life, longevity, even alternative cancer therapies with high dose vitamin C.
So besides supplementation, can we get enough vitamin C, through our diet?
Well, that's kind of one of the reasons that I say vitamin C is a daily supplement that we need to take. And the reason why, again, what is the reason? Always, functional medicine is always about digging deep into the why. You need to understand that, number one, the human body cannot manufacture our own vitamin C. So we need to get it from a dietary source or a supplement. And typically we're not getting enough on a daily basis just through food.
No, so everybody should take vitamin C, or is there the people out there, like if you're pregnant, if you're on prenatal, or somebody high in iron, or that is suffering from some sort of too much iron in their system, would that
Okay, so yeah, we can talk about iron for a minute. On my blood results, this is something that I'm balancing, is low iron. So, the conventional system is like, well, here's just your elemental iron, and however, 25 milligrams of iron every day. So vitamin C is something, again, when we talk about synergy, all the vitamins work together.
Is that what's the definition?
So synergy is like, if I just take iron, it's going to have a result. It's going to, go into my body. But if I take iron with vitamin C, it has a more effective result because vitamin C helps with iron absorption. So in something like this, it's more functional base where there's whole food, there's beetroot, there's that iron, 26 milligrams, but I'm also putting in there B12 and folate and vitamin C. That's that synergistic package that makes it more effective in my body for all the different reasons of why I need iron. Maybe it's because my thyroid's low, maybe I'm losing hair, I'm suffering from low energy, all of these kind of symptoms that are a result of low iron. Ironically enough, you can also have something called an iron toxicity, which is having too much iron in your system.
That's me.
And that's, hey, I'm sitting right beside someone.
I'm Iron Man.
And it's actually a very rare condition. It's a genetic disposition where you are not able to regulate the iron in your bloodstream. So your body has too much iron in your system. So it's extremely important. When your doctor says, go give blood, it's extremely important to know that why I know it's inconvenient, right?
So you're saying
I know it's inconvenient.
I should not, it's not that I shouldn't take vitamin C, but I should really watch the dosages and the types of vitamin.
I would not recommend a C supplement for you. I would say don't eliminate. Again, people go in extreme directions where they're like, oh, I'm going to just eliminate all food with vitamin. No, I want you to get your food, your vitamin C, but I would not recommend a supplement of vitamin C.
So,
what I would look into is maybe more of a food-based vitamin C, where you could add some
like a goji berry.
Yeah, like a goji berry, a camu, but monitor that. Watch, again, you've got to constantly measure. Follow your doctor's recommendations, do that blood draws, check how often do you get your blood done?
Every 8 weeks.
Yeah. So
I donate every 8 weeks.
Yeah, you want to donate every 8 weeks, and then maybe every 6 months you're getting your blood panel done to measure.
So to go back to the second podcast we did, you were saying to take vitamin C, but I forgot to tell you that I was high in iron, which changes our whole
that's actually
outlook on things.
Very detrimental in terms of not having the whole story of a client or just giving broad blankets nutritional supplemental advice. Is I could be helping, let's say 98% of the population would do really well on a C.
If they told you
on a C supplement, but I'm detrimentally hurting maybe that 2% of the population because he has homeochromatosis, which is an iron dysregulation in the body. So supplementing with C is not good. But there's also another population, anyone that has high levels of oxalates or kidney stones is another population where I would say do not supplement with vitamin C right now. We got to get deeper into the underlying reasons of what is the imbalance in that body with something like high oxalates or kidney stones. There's a lot more deeper issues going on there. So right now, no, vitamin C would not be on that person's protocol.
Well, you
as a
mentioned these
supplement.
two. Can
Yeah.
you kind of explain what they are and to our viewers out there as far
So there's three different basic forms. So let's take a step back as I answer this
Okay.
question. There's three different types of C supplementation you can do. So this is the first one where you're getting the chemical form of vitamin C, ascorbic acid. Okay, so just think of the name acid, that's something that burns in your system. Okay, so this is more of the toxicity of where somebody can overdo vitamin C. Is you're going to have more of that gastrointestinal upset. It's going to hurt your stomach, maybe
like
diarrhea.
heartburn?
Not so much heartburn, but more in the abdominal pain, loose stool, diarrhea, stuff like that. That's an indication that you're doing too much vitamin C. So
Okay.
if that's the variable that you changed, you're doing too much vitamin C. I don't really push just the chemical. Again, it's not playing in that synergistic way as much. I mean, it's not bad, but what I would prefer to use would be something like a buffered vitamin C. So if somebody comes to me and they're really depleted,
You mentioned that in the last
yeah,
episode.
they're
the buffer.
so I can kind of go into more of the why on that
Okay.
today, where if somebody comes in and they're really depleted, their immune system is really weak, and they have low levels of vitamin C, because I can look at that on their organic acids test lab, and I want to really get that levels up. And the way we do that, because this is very acidic, we buffer it with the alkaline forms of those minerals: calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and sometimes zinc is in there as well. And it's the alkalized form. So what that does is it softens the effect. So I can get more of that ascorbic acid into your system, but it's not going to upset your stomach. And then it gets into your bloodstream probably 3 to 6 times faster than just taking the straight vitamin C. And the third one, which I really love, would be something like this one, where it has the ascorbic acid, but there's also these bioflavonoids from whole food. And even this one too, this is a multivitamin, but there's a lot of those bioflavonoids in there, like hibiscus, quercetin, rutin.
You want to touch on bioflavonoids in case
So
the audience...
flavonoids, acerola fruit. These are the phytochemicals that are in foods that are high in vitamin C. So citrus fruits, the berries, the goji berries, all of these are those little micronutrients that are so important, and together they have a better result in the human body in terms of utilizing the vitamin C and all the properties. That's what we mean by synergy. Instead of just having the chemical form of ascorbic acid, we have more of this complete package of vitamin C that the body can utilize and have a stronger immune system. So, and you may have heard the word antioxidant.
100%.
Right? And this is really relevant to you in your story, because when I think about you, I think immediately about the exposure to toxins in the environment that you have. As a firefighter, you are on the front line of you're going into buildings and you're being exposed every time you're on a call to burning flame retardants, burning plastics, the smoke, the fumes, the risk of cancer and being exposed to carcinogens is extremely high in our frontline workers and our firefighters. So I mean, I have an enormous amount of respect just doing that. But how can I better equip you, and how can you be that voice? Here you are in this health shop of being a voice for others that are doing this kind of work. And part of it is really helping your immune system and helping your body. Vitamin C is like your armor. You have all the equipment, right? You have all this protection to help you fight these fires. So this is almost like a metaphor of we're all fighting battles in life, and we need that protection, right? And vitamin C is one of those things. It's like our coat, it's our armor. It makes us stronger to be able to battle through, and it's like the recycling center in your body, where it's processing and getting rid of and excreting all those toxins that you're exposed to. So I can't stress enough really looking at some of the things that we're talking about today, vitamin C. We're going to get into zinc because that's another one that is right in there with helping you detoxify and protecting your body from all the exposure that you're dealing with.
Let's take a step back. You
basis.
mentioned vitamin C and iron. So
Yeah.
some people that are iron deficient could be also C deficient. So like you were saying, they supplement with the iron thinking that it's going to fix their iron problem, but it could be an underlying problem of maybe being they're not taking in enough vitamin C. Is that my understanding?
Absolutely, yeah. So when we look at vitamins and deficiencies and symptoms, so maybe what is somebody suffering, what would be some symptoms of low iron? It could be low energy. You know what, when we go back to the toxicity, often, ironically enough, when you're toxic and when you're deficient, the symptoms are very similar.
Really?
So let me just rhyme off some symptoms of having high iron. Lack of energy, abdominal pain, loss of sex drive, loss of body hair, heart flutters, memory fog, weight loss, weakness overall. Okay, those are high iron. But on the other side of things, low iron as well. We're going to have a lot of this low energy, apathy, maybe low libido, your hair might be falling out. So these are some of the symptoms that we may be dealing with low iron. And there's a crossover where it's like, oh, well, is it your thyroid? Is it your adrenals? And we start to kind of list off these diseases, right? And when we go into our conventional medical system and we just say like I'm losing my hair or I have low energy, what do? Maybe they jump, again, we talked about this last show, they jump way over here and give us the thyroid medicine, or they give us the iron supplement. Meanwhile, we can go back along that chain of events, and if we're looking at something like an iron deficiency, again, why is the body deficient in iron? Are we not getting enough in our diet? Are we not getting enough vitamin C? There's all host of like reasons. There's only half a dozen reasons why somebody's hair is falling out. And my approach is let's exhaust each one of those reasons until we get to that underlying root cause for that person. Root cause could be they're low in B vitamins. Here's your B vitamins. They're low in iron. The precursor to iron absorption is vitamin C. What else do we have going on with hair loss? Maybe it is thyroid. Let's run the complete adrenal
a common
thyroid.
Thyroid. Everybody talks, especially women, and that's a whole new different topic that
we
we'll
have
discuss
a whole show on
thyroid. But I mean, women in general that have thyroid problems, because it seems to be more common in the women than in the men. Is it possible that they are, besides being low in iron, they're deficient in the C's as well?
Well, C would be one of those foundational protocols that we're just, giving that body foundational nutrients. So vitamin C works with vitamin E, which works with iron. I want to look at B levels. I want to see if they have enough protein. What is the stress? What are the toxins? Because there's a lot of specific toxins that will attack the thyroid. Chlorine, fluoride. Is that body being able to detoxify? It goes into nutrition. It goes into food sensitivities. Every answer is so multifaceted, where it's not just the solution is not the thyroid medication. There's so many events that happen before that.
But it's now we're stuck on thyroid. But I mean, right
Yeah,
away when somebody goes for thyroid, they're thrown on a medication without exhausting the item, the topics you discussed, right? So you have a thyroid problem. Let's go put you on this, right?
It's not. It seems like a lot, but it's only half a dozen things that we're going to really exhaust.
But I don't think people take the time, not people, but in general, the system doesn't take the time to analyze it properly. But anyways, thyroid's another topic in another episode. Go back to vitamin C.
What have we missed here? We had some questions. Okay, what are the benefits, the risk of toxicity? So the upper limit is around 2,000 milligrams a day. After that, you might get some of those more gastric, intestinal discomfort, so diarrhea, loose stool, stuff like that. There's not really a massive risk other than someone that has hemochromatosis or somebody who has high oxalates kidney stones. So that's one of the be aware of vitamin C supplementation. Other than that, it's just going to be some uncomfortable situations with that.
What about time release vitamin? Somebody sent in a question. Time release vitamin C.
So how much and when? I'm not a huge fan of the time release. They're usually in the big box, lower quality to begin with. I like more of the capsules. Have you ever done that experiment where you stick a tablet in a glass of water and see how long it takes for it to dissolve?
Back in public school, yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes they don't even dissolve. Mostly everything here on the table, we're dealing with capsules. I'm not a fan of time release. I just create a system for people where, you have those habits that I got to earlier in the show of, you get your supplement box with a label and everything's laid out for you, what you have to do every day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I typically take one in the morning and one with dinner. That's how I do it. But again, it's going to be individual based on how much vitamin C a person is going to need with that one. We discussed the different forms. I really recommend starting off with that alkalized buffered version and then switching to something like the synergistic version of this one's in a multi, which has a lot. These two examples are where you're getting your multivitamin and there's some bioflavonoids in there. You could add a little extra powder to your morning smoothie for breakfast or a pre-workout shake just to get a little more of that vitamin C. Again, that protection, that building back of the system. Yeah, so I think we've pretty much covered vitamin C deficiency clinically. I mean, we can go back to the scurvy days where it's like less than 10 milligrams a day, but that's not really relevant. The only real relevancy that has is if we're talking about more vulnerable populations. So alcoholism is one where if somebody is, alcoholism, that's where that body's going to be very deficient in their minerals and their vitamin C, or elderly or infants that are deprived. Other than that, we are okay, but from a functional perspective, we're still not thriving. We might just be surviving and getting by, but this is how we thrive, right?
So I guess we've
have we
exhausted? I think
have we exhausted vitamin C?
Well, we appreciate our friends out there that had the questions about vitamin C. If you have any more questions on vitamin C, you can either message us or on Instagram send us a question. We're going to go on to zinc now, which is a very common question. And zinc was there's a lot of unknowns about zinc, and I think a lot of people don't realize the good that zinc does. One of the questions that came in that I laughed so hard at when I saw was, zinc for the dink. Obviously it does something for your sexual drive, which I wasn't aware of, but
absolutely. What are we, 6 years old, making jokes about this?
No, it was just the way you worded it. I thought it was kind of amusing, right? So
yeah, absolutely. So zinc is like that life force. It's good for reproduction. So again, why am I taking zinc? Why am I going out of my way to, after this podcast, to stop by the store and pick up some zinc? Now we have a bigger
forget about
reason.
Viagra, I'm taking zinc.
No, but it's for seriously, no jokes. Zinc is going to help in that department. Some of those symptoms of low libido and low sex drive and just performance.
So it increases your testosterone?
Yeah, it plays with your testosterone, but also it's part of rebuilding those stores in the body that is needed for reproduction. So both in women and men, if we're struggling with fertility, zinc is one of the supplements that we would recommend.
For women as well.
Yeah, for women as well, absolutely. And hair loss. If we're losing our hair, zinc is one of those minerals that I personally take a zinc every night with dinner. And I go for more. We're going to talk about this too, as a balanced zinc, because minerals have a partner. So if I take too much zinc, I'm going to lower my copper. And vice versa. My copper is too high, my zinc is going to be too low. So this is a huge part of the science, where it's not just, you don't just walk into your store and grab stuff off the shelf. You really have to know what's going on in your body and understand that as much of this is a science, it's also an art form, in matching an individual story with what they really need from a nutritional and a supplemental
So how does somebody know if they're low on zinc besides the tell? I mean, is there a test? It's pretty
So,
hard to test.
Yeah, we can test it, but we can also talk about some deficiency symptoms. So let's talk about the symptoms. So it could be slow growth, delayed in children, so they're growing slowly, delayed sexual maturation, brittle, weak nails, hair falling out, the white spots on our nails. Have you ever seen that?
The beds, you mean? On your...
The ridges are more iron, but the actual white spots could be a deficiency in zinc, acne, reoccurring colds and flus. Again, we get into the immune system.
Let's go back to acne.
Yeah, okay, acne.
No, it's just because you stop. I just you talk about acne. Usually, people put zinc on their face or whatever as a sunscreen. So it obviously has something to do with the blocking the rays from the sun and.
Right. So yeah, zinc oxide is what we put on our skin to help block the sun. But in the the acne is a pretty complex topic. Again, I'm going to exhaust those half a dozen reasons of what are the underlying root imbalances of acne. It starts with, again, diet, nutrition, food sensitivities. A lot of the times it's gastrointestinal imbalances of too much bacteria, and that's coming out in the skin. It also depends on different stages in our life, if it's hormonal, if it's where on the face or on the body are we getting acne. Okay, so zinc can help with the oil production in our skin, and it's also, so there's that side of zinc, but it also has this side of healing. So if it takes if bruises, cuts, scrapes, acne, it takes a long time to heal, we may be lacking in zinc. So it's usually one of the protocols in helping someone balance zinc. I mean, I have a personal story. I suffered so bad. I went on the drug Accutane 3 times, which is horrendous for your body. Horrendous. So, I mean, had I known what I knew now, 20 years ago, I probably could have rebalanced that body. Now I had to deal with the aftermath of what that drug does to your system. Anyway, that's another topic for another show.
I read an interesting thing about zinc. When I was sick about a month ago or so, I lost my sense of smell and I lost my sense of taste.
There you go.
And then reading, I found out that zinc, people that have lost that taste and have no explanation why they maybe have lost that taste, could be zinc deficient, where zinc actually plays on the part of the brain that controls taste and smell.
Yeah, it accentuates our taste buds and our sense of
Very
smell.
interesting fact.
So if you lose that, it could be a zinc deficiency.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there certain vitamins and minerals you shouldn't mix together? Like if I take vitamin C, should I wait till take zinc or? Good
question. So, yes, there's these things called anti-nutrients. And sometimes there's a bit of a hype. I don't know if you've ever heard of like the phytates or the lectins and the oxalates, and we kind of demonize these nutrients that are typically in health foods. So it's like, oh, don't eat too much spinach, you'll over-oxalate your body. And it's a bit of this panic, but again, we're dealing with like a very small percentage of people that are suffering from kidney stones, etc. So going back to the relevancy of zinc is iron. Okay, so if I'm dealing with I'm dealing with low iron and low zinc, I don't want to take those two supplements at the same time. Okay, back to my the methodology to my madness. So I give people their iron supplement typically at lunch. It has a bit of vitamin C that helps with absorption, those other B vitamins like 12 and folate. We do this one at lunch. It's a food-based. It's got beetroot. Beetroot's good for our liver and detoxification. So I'm like feeding a few birds with a few stones, right? But I don't want to be taking my zinc with my iron at the same time because they cancel each other out. Okay, so I do my zinc with dinner, and I typically also would do a balanced zinc with copper. So the ratio with that one is 15 milligrams of zinc for 2 milligrams of copper, just so I keep everything in balance, because I do want to test that. I'll run the hair tissue mineral analysis, which is a hair sample. We take a hair sample and we ship that out to the lab, and then we get it back and we can see all the different minerals, and what we really focus on there is the ratios. It's less important to say, okay, what is my individual value in magnesium, or what is my individual value in potassium, is we actually want to see the ratio of CalMag, of zinc and copper, and that's what people are mainly missing in terms of the health
So
field.
these tests, for our
Right.
friends out there that
Yeah.
are following us, if somebody's far away and they wanted these tests done or ordered, is it something that a kit you could possibly ship to them? And then
Absolutely. They're at-home lab, functional medicine lab tests. You can link on my website, thefreedomtolive.ca. I have all the list of labs that I run right on there. It's super simple. It's a super simple process where I simply will guide you through that process. You take the samples. It's non-invasive, so blood is just a finger prick. You pee in a jar, or you will get a sample of saliva if we're testing hormones, or like the hair tissue mineral analysis, it's a hair sample. And they're extremely reliable. I studied under Dr. Stephen Cabral. He has a huge practice in Boston, 300,000+ clinical appointments where people are doing these labs, and we're reading and sending these labs to people. So highly stand behind the validness of those lab tests, right? So maybe one other question I think we had was, where can we get zinc other than supplements, right?
Correct, yes.
From our diet.
And you just
food.
explained you can't overdose, not overdose, you can over supplement on
We
zinc.
have to be careful with zinc, definitely, because the minute we start to mention all the benefits,
People are going to start.
especially like zinc is, it's good for. What is it good for? Like the reproduction, male health, testosterone. It's good. It's a very anabolic. So you have
It's good for sleep too, no?
It's good for sleep. It's the body building. It helps muscle growth. It's used in protein synthesis. It's very anabolic in the body. So it's like that armor again. We go back to that protection and the armor that we need for battle. Zinc is right up there. So the minute we start to talk about like all these benefits, people just go off the rails and give me zinc, give me zinc. You really don't want to go over. The upper limit is 100 milligrams a day, and that's way too high. You want to stick with more of the 30 to 50 milligrams a day, and have that ratio of copper in there too. It's about 15 to 2, right? So where else can we get zinc from food? Is typically in the egg yolks, meat. If you're not eating meats, then you want to look at seeds, so pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, and take note of between the amount from food and supplements. You don't want to go over like that 75 range. Someone like you, I would say you could probably do a higher zinc, just based on your work, based on your story, based on our intake. But again, that's not blanket advice for the whole world.
It'd be neat to go back in time 20 years from now, or 30 years back in time, when fast foods and drive-thrus weren't as popular as they are now, because we're a society of instant gratification. Let's zip into Wendy's and grab my food, or zip into McDonald's and grab my food, where you potentially don't get that good quality nutritional meals that you had back in the day. My parents were so cheap they wouldn't take me to McDonald's, right?
Absolutely.
So everything's grown in a garden, everything's wholesome and good for you, right? So you wonder, now going into the future, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, are we going to be more deprived of all like the vitamin C, the zinc, the magnesiums, because we don't have the time to eat a good quality meal, because like I said, we're a society of instant gratification that we're doing, something to tie me over, just something in my stomach, but realizing that something in your stomach really has no nutritional benefit to your body.
Exactly. We can't skip the steps. Here we are talking about supplements. Supplements is like one small piece to the pie, and it's not a magic bullet. You know what I mean? The first and foremost, we got to go back to the solid pillars of repair, which is good, wholesome food that grows on a tree, that grows in the ground, good nutrition, good sleep, and then like having that sense of joy and passion and bigger purpose. Like that's really what, I have the conversations every day of like, yay, we get the weight loss down 5 pounds, and the person's just like, Because they checked the box, but there wasn't a why. It's like, well, why do you want a better body? Why do you want better energy? Why do you want a better libido? Like, what's the bigger point? Because we lose that motivation, that drive. It's not just checking through the boxes and going through that drive-through. I mean, it satisfies us in that minute, but what's the bigger point?
Unfortunately, that's the way we're going.
Maybe through these conversations,
Yeah.
we have the power to shift that, because I feel like it doesn't have to be that story.
No.
It doesn't have to be.
Do you have any more anything more about zinc?
What else do we have on zinc? I mean, that's that. I think we've pretty much covered it. We can answer any questions that come up.
Yeah.
Any announcements coming up?
Announcement this Saturday, which is September or October. I don't even know the date. This Saturday, the first Saturday in October, White Oaks here is having an open house, and the Health Shoppe will be out sitting on a table and answering any questions that people may have. My team player Steph will be there, and also my other team player Cam's going to be there. So that's October 5th, Saturday here, located at White Oaks. And again, I thank all the friends out there that submitted great questions. Please follow us on Instagram and the YouTube channel, and any questions you may have that we weren't able to answer, or any topics you want to discuss in the future, feel free to let us know. Steph has a site that you can go to. Maybe you want to explain a little bit about your site besides your personal site.
Yep. If sure, you can check out my Instagram at thefreedomtolive.ca. I have a lot of content just in bite-sized format, or my website is thefreedomtolive.ca. You can get a bigger picture on what I do in terms of programs and navigate people through it's the day-to-day process that I help people navigate in terms of rebalancing all of these symptoms in health and delivering a system really of integrative health, which includes, our diet on an individual story level, our diet, our exercise, our supplement protocols, and I try to connect people with their purpose and their passion. Like, that's my spinach inside my chocolate cake.
Well, stay tuned for future episodes. We're going to be talking more about thyroid. A huge topic that we're going to be talking about, and it's going to take several episodes, is mental health, and how mental health is playing such a detriment in our society, and people suffering from mental health and not necessarily getting the proper health they need, the proper nutrition they need. But I mean, mental health is a whole ball on its own, and we'll be bringing in different speakers and lecturers on mental health. And that's about it for what I have to say. You got anything to add to that, Steph?
Thank you, Tom. I'll be back here on Saturday, October the 5th, and it'll be fun.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks again, friends, for tuning in, and we'll see you at our next podcast, or hopefully we'll see you this Saturday, October 5th, outside. Cheers. Have a great day.
Thanks. Have a good day.